News 10 Arizona Morning is back.
Welcome back. Investigators in the deadly mass shooting at an Oregon community college say they found a number of firearms at the gunman's apartment. The gunman reportedly had 3 pistols and well, it says an automatic rifle, and we're not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah.
I doubt it. It was probably a semi-automatic rifle. The campus is, by the way, a gun-free zone.
Well, reports say they had one security guard who was not carrying a gun. He had a can of mace as a weapon. This morning we asked, of course, like everybody else, why did this happen? And what can you do if you find yourself in this situation as well, unarmed?
So David Laird is here. He's a professional firearms instructor, private security consultant, and he joins us here live in the studio. Thanks for coming in, David. Really appreciate it.
Good morning.
So you volunteer with the local sheriff's agency and consult for several churches around the valley, I understand.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, how do we keep ourselves safe in these situations, in a situation like that on campus or in a church?
Well, the first thing we have to do is stop living in denial. Many of us live our day-to-day lives and we think that this type of thing can never happen to us as individuals. We see it someplace distant, in a different state, in a different area, and we need to start asking ourselves, well, what if it happens to me? What if it happens right now? What am I going to do? And changing your mental state is going to help you stay more aware, more alert, and aware of your surroundings.
That's exactly what both
We
Rick and
talked
I
about
were
this
saying
earlier,
this morning.
To each other.
And yeah, and I don't know if it's because we talk about it so much more. There's a lot of people in my circle that kind of stay away from the news and don't want to know about it and don't want to hear about it. So I don't think about that this could happen. But we were saying, I walk into a mall and that's the first thing I think of. Is there's a lot of people around here. What if someone were to walk in? I'm unarmed. What would I do?
Well, one of the things you constantly have to be aware of is where's your exits. You know, a lot of us think about the big exits that we walk in and out of, but every one of those stores actually has a back exit to a service hallway. And so going into any one of those smaller stores and accessing that, they've got storage rooms that you can lock yourself into, that you can brace to prevent anyone from entering into. And you need to be aware of where those exits are so that you can take you, your family, your loved ones out of that environment as quickly as possible.
Looking back at these mass shootings, what kind of person does this type of thing? And do they, it seems to me, just looking at the history of this, that most of them will go to a gun-free zone where people are totally defenseless.
Absolutely. It's like fish in a barrel. When you go to, they specifically search out these areas. The Colorado shooter went past 4 other movie theaters and picked one specifically that doesn't allow firearms because they don't want to be challenged. They want to be able to run amok. And when they don't face that sort of challenge, it allows them to do what they came there to do. They don't want to meet opposition. It's all about gaining fame and making a name for themselves so that they'll be remembered.
And when they meet opposition in the face of a police officer or security person with a firearm, they shoot themselves. And mostly. Most
of the time, yeah. There's actually been so many incidents just this year alone, and we don't remember any of the names of the off-duty law enforcement officers or the CCW carriers that have stopped a number of mass shootings this year. They don't get near the attention that these guys do. And so the truth is, you know, a good guy with any tool is better than having no tool whatsoever. And education and training is key too. It's not enough just to have a tool, but you've got to get really good with it and put yourself in the same stressful situation and see how you are going to be able to perform under that kind of stress.
I was going to say that level of anxiety changes completely when you're actually in a situation like that versus just thinking, what if?
Right, absolutely.
The people that are behind these shootings, I mean, I can't help but say they all seem like they have much mental instability. That somehow, some way, whether they are disgruntled at the world, co-workers, or religion, or anything like that, they just operate on a different level than most people that I would say are a little bit more stable mentally.
Well, absolutely. I mean, they've clearly demonstrated that they have no respect or regard for human life whatsoever. But just last night, we had a husband who kidnapped 4 kids and ran away with a car with his spouse who he abused. And he's operating in that same level, where they're so self-absorbed with whatever's going on in their life that they don't care about anyone else. Evil exists in the world, and if good people don't stand up for themselves, then this sort of thing will continue to happen.
If firearms are banned, you know, on college campuses and stores like I think Target, Starbucks, Chipotle, all these people have come out and say they don't want firearms in their building. How could we defend ourselves and defend our lives if we're unarmed?
Well, you say unarmed, but keep in mind Arizona's CCW allows you to carry flashlights, pepper spray, batons, tasers, stun guns. So even these areas where they say no firearms allowed, we're still legally allowed to carry those other instruments with us.
Okay.
But those instruments, once again, are only as good as our training. So if you don't go and train with those and train effectively with them under that kind of stress, then you're only setting yourself up for failure with a false sense of security.
Right.
Okay. Well, really good information, David. Thank you.
I need more training, David.
Absolutely, everybody
does, right?
Everybody does. I continue to train with many instructors around the valley because I think the day that I knew everything is the day I'm going to retire.
Yeah. I
Because
agree
I'll be
with
no
that.
more use to my students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate your time this
So
morning.
you do teach,
Absolutely.
and where can we find you?
You can find me in the valley very easy if you're anything to do with firearms.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
We'll look
good.
you up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. David Laird.
Thank you for coming in. All right, Celeste.
All right. Good morning, everyone.